The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations has agreed in principle to include East Timor as its 11th member. The ASEAN will also grant the half-island nation an observer status at high-level meetings. The next steps towards full membership include a roadmap to be submitted at next year's summit. East Timor, officially known as Timor-Leste, formally applied for membership back in 2011. U.S. President Joe Biden will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia. The details in this video from Bloomberg.
They're really lowering expectations for this meeting. They're not calling it a summit. They're basically saying that it's really what we call a setting the rules of the road kind of meeting, where they're both going to try to understand a little bit what the other side wants. There is not even going to be a joint statement afterwards, which is usually typical in these kinds of meetings, but they're saying it really is just a chance to almost chat about what they both think are important issues for them. Taiwan obviously will figure in this, but they're also going to try to kind of put a floor on the bad relations that the two sides have had recently to stop them from deteriorating even further.
Jody, when it comes to what we're hearing from U.S. officials, what seems to be the main objective here?
Yeah, so I think the main objective is to just meet. They're both going to be there at the G20 and to try to at least show that the two sides are trying to have some kind of conversations. Obviously, Taiwan will be part of this. We haven't heard exactly what the president will be saying. Jake Sullivan, one of his national security advisors, said that he's not going to really forecast that too much, that he should have those talks, and then the administration will talk about what this means with the Taiwan policy. But they also want to talk about, the Biden administration wants to talk about North Korea's recent military activity, about the war in Ukraine, and about climate change. Those are on its agenda. We haven't really heard what the Chinese side wants to talk about in this meeting.
Obviously, Taiwan is going to be key in these conversations, particularly as President Biden's recent comments really, vowing to stand firm with Taiwan. How does that play into the dynamic of the meeting, I wonder?
Yeah, officials have been telling us that they don't think that President Biden intends to stand necessarily by recent statements that the U.S. would basically take military action if Taiwan was attacked. But at the same time, he is expected to stand firm on the U.S. willingness to stand by Taiwan, to go beyond what had been that strategic ambivalence doctrine that the administrations have stood by in recent years. So we think that he will stand up for Taiwan. Of course, his statements recently have provoked real concern in China. And of course, Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker's visit there this year really angered China and further led to deterioration in relations between U.S. and China. So it's seeming that he doesn't want to provoke President Xi Jinping in this discussion, but at the same time, we expect that President Biden is going to remain resolute in the U.S. willingness to stand by Taiwan. The way he says that will, of course, be very interesting and will be parsed by everyone, but no joint statement afterwards. So we're not exactly going to be able to be sure what exactly was said by the two leaders.
And workers and progressive groups staged a protest in Quezon City to call for a wage hike. Faith Del Mundo with the details.
This is what workers and progressive groups called for in a protest in Quezon City. They're petitioning for the government to issue wage orders and to certify salary bills in Congress as urgent. Among their other concerns are the removal of the value-added tax on essential products and the full review of the oil deregulation law.
Papirmahin yung ating mga kababayan dahil ang packaging naman po namin, itaas yung sahod, ibaba ang presyo. Lahat naman tayo tinatamaan ng ganon. So, thousands of signs po ang kailangan namin.
Sarah, a nurse and breadwinner, is one of those who signed the petition. She says she can't keep up with the soaring prices of goods.
May inflation po, hindi na nakaka-keep up yung sahod natin. Kaya imbes na magpagkasyahin yung kulang ang budget natin kada buwan, sana po taasan na lang din yung sahod. Na hindi lang namin mga nurse, lahat po tayo. Kasi lahat naman po tayo may pangangailangan, kahit anong profesyon naman po.
JR, a hospital driver, has the same concern.
Yun, sana kung yung dagdag sahod, pero kung magdadagdag sila, sana magbaba rin ng presyo.
The petition aims to gather thousands of signatures. It will then be sent to the Congress, other government agencies, and President Bongbong Marcos.
Paawa naman ng gobyerno sa taong bayan. Kapag ka nakalikom na kami ng mga pirma na to, at the moment na may submit namin sa kanila, so dapat kagyat. Pag sinabi pong kagyat, at least, very least, 1 week, meron na pong response ang gobyerno. Huwag naman nila sabihin sa amin na pag-aaralan namin. Kasi habang tumataas ang presyo na bilihin, ang kahulugan nun, maraming mga nagugutom.
The Labor Department says they are looking at a possible wage hike in a bid to further lessen underemployment. Latest data from the Philippine Statistics Authority showed that 15.4% or more than 7.3 million are underemployed.
Nakita namin na karamihan dun sa mga nalikhang trabaho nandun po sa kategorya ng lower paying, lower skills category, at yan po ang hamon sa amin, quality of employment.
For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
One News Now will be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The camp of Percy Lapid is not buying the recent claims made by suspended Bucor Chief Gerald Bantag. Speaking to us here on One News Now, attorney Berteni Kausing said that Bantag is just trying to sway public sentiment. Bantag finally spoke up in an interview with SMNI or the Sunshine Media Network, where he accused Justice Chief Boying Remulla of having a hand in the case. Attorney Kausing said they will wait for Bantag's written counter-affidavit to see if he commits perjury.
We are not buying it. It was said in high octane emotion from him, and no person who is highly emotional in speaking is saying the truth. All those statements, instead of helping him, we are using that now as evidence against him to prove that he is guilty.
The Justice Department also addressed the allegations made by General Bantag against Justice Secretary Boying Remulla. Department spokesperson Miko Clavano said that Remulla and Bantag had a strong and healthy relationship before the Percy Lapid murder happened, even insisting that Bantag remain as Bucor chief after tendering his resignation when the Marcos administration started. The DOJ said Bantag's words and actions came from a misguided sense of betrayal. The agency added that all the evidence collected so far points to the respondents as perpetrators of the murder, including Bantag. Clavano also said that a subpoena will be sent to all the respondents for them to answer through their counter affidavit. And one senator laments the government's continued publication of so-called subversive books. Camille Samonte with the report.
During the Senate's deliberation on the proposed 2023 budget of the Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino, Senator Dela Rosa hit the agency for allowing the publication of books that are allegedly subversive.
Pag nabasa yan ng anak ko, magiging subversibo yung anak ko pag nabasa yung libro na yan. Tayo'y hirap na para kalabanin itong problema natin sa insurgency, and yet, meron tayong ahensya ng gobyerno na sumusuporta sa pag-radicalize ng utak ng ating mga kabataan na para lumaban sa ating gobyerno.
Recall that the KWF earlier banned these books but later on withdrew the order amid public criticisms. For Dela Rosa, academic freedom is being abused when it is used to inject anti-government ideologies among the youth.
Sila ang nagpaprinta, pera ng gobyerno ang ginastusan para pagpaprinta. Alam mo, alam ko, ang sagot na naman niya ng mga taga-academician is academic freedom. Yan na palagi, the most abused term by the left, yung academic freedom. Pero actually, Madam Sponsor, these people are using academic freedom to destroy the real essence of academic freedom.
Senator Pia Cayetano, who sponsors the KWF budget, said examining the content of the book is not part of the agency's mandate.
Sa Section 4, kung saan nga yung mandato clearly states that itong commission na ito, ang kanyang trabaho is to undertake, coordinate, and promote research for the development, propagation, preservation of Filipino and other Philippine languages. So, yung mandato niya is on the side of language.
Senator Coco Pimentel said copies of the book should be provided so that they could examine it themselves. For Senator Risa Hontiveros, banning these books won't solve the problem in insurgency.
Higit pong maigi kung wala pong binaban na mga aklat at patuloy magpakasigasig tayong mga magulang, ang mga guro, lahat ng mga responsableng adults maging sa ating pamahalaan na ilaban at ipanalo ang mga superior na ideya. Hindi sa pamamagitan ng pagbaban o ano paman, pero sa paggabay at paghubog ng critical na pag-iisip.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Jose Rizal University's John Amores is now facing complaints for serious physical injury after punching two players of the College of St. Benilde in an NCAA game earlier this week. Tane Davis and Jimboy Pasturan filed the complaints against Amores, who was recently slapped with an indefinite suspension. NCAA officials had to stop the game between JRU and St. Benilde on Tuesday after Amores ran amok and charged the Blazers bench. Back in July, Amores also figured in an altercation with UP Maroons' Mark Belmonte. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.